I'm gonna try this out because I knew I wanted change, but I just didn't know how to go about it. I got on the prayer line one day and just like cried my eyes out. The family abuse, the molestation, no type of connection with my mom's side of the family. I gotta cut ties with my family.
Yeah.
What's up, family? It's your man, Coach Crunk. Excited about the next episode of the Boy Man King podcast with my co-host, my man Chizzy.
What's up, King?
What's up, fam?
Always good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man.
Chef Beasley, yeah.
We got one of the greats, you know what I'm saying? ATL legends now, you know what I'm saying? Celebrity chef, maestro, cooking it up. My man, 100 grand Chef Beasley. Welcome, man.
My brother.
It's always a pleasure.
Love that intro.
Especially when you be bringing that food. It's always a pleasure.
It was a requirement.
Gifts.
Listen, I said, listen, bro, it's okay that you come on the pod. I love it. I want to hear your testimony because it's powerful. But if you come up here, you don't bring them grits and you don't bring that French toast, we're going to have a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But he blessed us this morning, man. So I'm full, bro.
What they actually used to him was like, it's bringing them grits.
Yeah, bro.
Grits.
Yeah,
But
man.
first, I'm from Bermuda. So grits, no, we don't do the grits. Had the first grits.
He don't know.
First grits, I was like, Chef Beasley's grits. I ain't had nobody else's grits ever
I appreciate
since.
that, man.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all about food, changing lives.
You know, just to stay on grits, because this is a very important topic. So, I cook up the grits around the Crump crib. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing my thing. And I'm like, Chef Beasley, he gonna do his thing, but he ain't got nothing on the kid. You know what I'm saying? So I ate his grits. I said, yo, these are killing my grits. So one time I had a little party at the crib. I say, Chef, come through. You could cook at my stove, man. So he's cooking his grits. I said, hey, bro, just what you put in the grits?
What's the secret sauce? He didn't tell you.
No, this is good. I put a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Put a lot in there. Keep it simple.
You trying to get a sauce?
He's just trying to.
You ain't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying?
You can't give that up. That's part of the brand, right?
Yeah. So, man, Chef Beasley, man, what I love, what a lot of people don't know, man, you've been part of a fellowship of men who just been pouring each other on the prayer line, man, and kind of take people. Well, you might want to go back further than that, but I do want people to really understand like a transition as a man, our relationship, how I even got to know you, how we got to know you, how we all fellowship at the retreat. Like kind of talk about like where that came from, where that started, when it came to Chef Beasley and you trying to get your career off the ground, how that all took part.
Basically, it started when COVID hit. I think that was that push I needed. Just being in the industry for 16 years, not thinking about doing the entrepreneur route, but like I said, when COVID hit, it was just like I started working in the Amazon warehouse, 12-hour days on a forklift, and I was just like, yo, this ain't it. Right. And so I noticed that it was only a Burger King and a Waffle House, and the hustle in me was just like, well, let me sell some meal prep, you know what I mean? And I started doing that, but it was just like, I got to do something bigger than this. And then I started going around the neighborhood, passing out flyers. And the one particular house, Jeremy Anderson's house, I didn't know he lived there. Right. It was just, I ain't gonna lie. You know how you see the little car commercials, like the Navigator commercials? It looked like it was like one of those houses where they were just maybe shooting car commercials. So I was like, let me just put a flyer in the mailbox. They might can afford, my little meal prep I'm doing. So out of 30 flyers, Jeremy was the only one that called.
Okay.
All of them. He was the only one that called. So
shout out to Jeremy, man.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Jay, man. But what's crazy is that you putting out all these flyers, but only one call. That's that one call. You know what I mean?
only had 30 flyers, like only forward 30 flyers.
Come on, only a 430.
And then that last flyer, I was so hesitant about putting in that mailbox. One day I was just like, you know what? I got one flyer left. And I was driving past that house going to Kroger, and I was like, I got to put this flyer in this mailbox. So I parked the car right there in front of the house, jumped out. I didn't know how to work the mailbox because you got like 3 different doors. I was just like, I don't know which one to put it in.
Yeah, there's levels to this.
Yeah, so I was just like, well, I'm just let it hang out a little bit. So I just like the flyer hang out with the door, and I was just like, whoever live, I hope they call. And I want to say a week later, he called. He was like, hey, this is Jeremy Anderson. And I was just like, for real? And then, but I didn't know which house it was. Sure. So he was just like, it was Jeremy Anderson. And then he asked for some food, gave me an address, and I pulled up to that house. I was like, yo, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind. And during that time, I was struggling a lot. Just trying to like with COVID going on, doing the homeschooling at that time, me and my wife, who weren't married yet, so we having issues in our relationship. And I'm just like, just trying to stay afloat. You know, we just getting into this entrepreneurial stage. I really didn't know business, but I just knew I knew how to cook and I can interact with people.
Right.
And after that, I just started cooking more for Jeremy, and then he introduced me to the prayer line. At the beginning, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna try this out, because I knew I wanted change, but I just didn't know how to go about it. And like I said, I still had my own issues that I'm working through and everything. And so I started getting on the prayer line, and I was like, okay, I like this. And I want to say one particular instance where I really struggled with pornography.
Yeah.
I got on the prayer line one day and just like cried my eyes out, because I was like so stuck. And the brothers stayed on the phone. I think we got on the phone like at 11 o'clock, and we was on that call. They were just pouring into me, and I was like, yo, I ain't never experienced nothing like this before. It really just
and let me pause there, because two things happen. One I don't want to skip over. We won't get back to the prayer line and what happened in that moment. But when you was bringing food to Jeremy, one thing you shared in the prayer line is that the food wasn't up to snuff, and he told you to go back and change some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And went back and changed. Talk about that process of like, because in the Jewish community, I think they call it like fargin, right? So it's like in the Jewish community, they will go back to spend their Jewish dollar with a Jewish enterprise, whether they mess up or not. But what they would do is when they mess up, they go back and tell them,
Right.
correct this, I'm still going to purchase from you, but go back and change these things. And that was the first time I saw in the black culture where, okay, this wasn't up to snuff at the excellence that I am expecting. Here's some feedback. And you actually went back and tweaked the food a couple of times to talk about that, man.
I sure did. Yeah, I appreciate Jeremy for that too, because like I said, my first time meeting him, I knew who he was and everything, but it was just like, this is my first time stepping out there to really give people my food on my own. And the feedback he was giving me, he was like, yeah, tweak this a little bit. This is a little salty. It's good, but you know, just this it was a little too much of this. I was like, all right, cool. And every time I came back, he was just like fist pounding, like, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then he got hooked on them grits. I was like,
hey, as we all do.
I perfected that recipe, and he was walking around with, it was so funny. He was walking around with the pan. I was like, yeah, I appreciate that. Because like I said, he was telling me like, hey, you know, I'm gonna support you, but I want you to take this feedback and apply it to your food so other people can try your food. Because I want to say it was like maybe a month and a half that I was cooking for him. Next thing I know, he calls me. He was like, hey, can you do a little lunch? I got some friends coming over. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know who was coming over. I'm in the kitchen cooking at the house.
Brought the
Next
influences.
thing I know, Wall Street Trapper walk in. Donnie Wiggins walk in. David Shands walk in. The guys from Support Black College walk in. I was just like,
EYL, I think EYL was up there.
I was just like, wait a minute. Because I didn't know, like, I wasn't on social media like that, so I didn't know that circle was that big.
Right.
And for him to bring them and me cook for all of them, because that led even to more cooking for them, the other clients as well. So, like I said, that feedback he gave me, it was very much needed, because I could have just took it and be like, nah, I ain't gonna cook for that man no more. But I appreciate the way he gave it to me. And the way that he was just like, you know, you just fix these things, you'll be good, bro. You know what I mean? And the fact that the kids, Miss Tracy, they was all loving the food too. So it was just like, yeah, I gotta continue to take that constructive criticism so I can know better myself as a chef.
Right. And your story is amazingly impactful for a younger generation. Because, you know, as you know, and we're gonna get into a little bit about, you know, growing up and what that was like for you. Because, of course, you're now Chef Beasley. And, of course, for a younger person, there's a process that needs to take place for you to get to where you're trying, what you're trying to actualize, no matter what lane you choose to be in. And so, you know, younger people can definitely relate to your story because it's not a, you know, you took a process to get to where you are now. Talk a little bit about growing up. You're an Atlanta native.
Oh, yes.
What life was like growing up. We see you as Chef Beasley now, this accomplished, amazing chef. Yeah. But talk a little bit about, you know, how you got inspired to actually get into cooking and what home life was like.
Definitely. You know, growing up in Atlanta, it was fun. My whole entire family is from Atlanta. So on my dad's side,
Grady baby?
From a Grady baby all day, every day. You know what I mean? On my dad's side, they're all from Atlanta. my mom, she's from Cocoa Beach, Florida. Her and my brother.
Okay.
Shout out to
Okay.
Florida,
You know
man.
what I mean?
Florida in the building.
They the only
Oklahoma.
Gators.
Go Gators.
Yeah, man. So they were the only one from Florida. So my growing up on my dad's side, it was they was a part of the industry that was very heavy in our community, and so I got a chance to grow up around a lot of entrepreneurs, but they wasn't legal entrepreneurs.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I had on my dad's side, it was a lot of I got a lot of love, but I saw the streets.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
What not to do.
Did you
what
live
to
with
do.
mom? You live with dad?
I live with mom.
Live with mom.
I
Okay.
live with mom, but on my dad's side, I had the bigger family, my
Okay.
grandparents, cousins, aunts, all that, everything. So got a chance to see that side. But on my mom's side, it was a little smaller family, but it was the more traumatic side.
Okay.
Dealt with a lot of family abuse.
Yeah.
Dealt with a lot of molestation. And it was just like a lot of, I didn't get love like I got on my dad's side. Even though my family on my dad's side was in the streets, I just got that love from them that I was expecting to get from my side of the
I
family.
think for a black culture, especially for those who was raised in the 80s and the 90s, that's one thing people don't recognize why a lot of kids gravitate to the streets.
Yeah, so basically with my dad's side of the family,
Yeah.
like I said, they were entrepreneurs, but not legal entrepreneurs. And but I got a lot of love from them. I got that love you would expect as a child growing up. I got that. But on my mom's side, that's when the traumatic upbringing came from. The family abuse, the molestation, just no type of connection with my mom's side of the family.
Can you with the molestation, like how has that affected you from that childhood to up to now? Like how have you been able to? Because now you're saying that, and you're like having conversations, just saying it, but like that's a lot to process to deal with. So what was that like for you?
I for a long time, I should say for about 25 years, I just wore a mask. You know what I mean? I didn't understand why it happened.
And now 25 years was up until how recent?
Up until last year. I'm 36, so up until 35, I carried that with me. You know what I mean? I carried it just pretending like I was good. You know what I mean? Just faking it. You know what I mean? Faking it to the point where I couldn't fake it no more. I got to the point where I had a conversation with my wife and my kids. I was just like, I gotta cut ties with my family.
Yeah.
I got to, because me holding on to this pain for 25 years,
That's
they're
immense,
fine.
man.
They're fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
but
you,
it's
that's huge.
me that's holding on to this, and I can't grow with my wife and kids with a genuine love and compassion if I'm still holding on to this, because to this day, my family still don't believe me. Like, it hurt me to have my mom tell me she don't believe me, my brother tell me she don't believe me, but when I finally made a decision, like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna just remove myself and just work on me and just build my family.
Right.
And that felt great, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it felt great.
Yeah.
My kids, they didn't fully understand it, but I explained it to them to the where they know that Daddy had to make this decision so he can better himself, because right now Daddy's not okay. You know what I mean? Dad's not okay. And it was tough, but I want to say as the months went by, it felt good because I felt like it was necessary.
Yeah.
Because what really took it there, my mom, she made a post on Facebook. She was the guy that molested me. She called him her son, and she made a post, and the comment was like, "I'm so proud of you. I love you, my son." And it just, I saw that, I was just like, wow.
And so was the gentleman, and I don't, of course, what you're willing to share is what you're willing to share, of course. Was this individual a family member, cousin? Was it a stepbrother?
He was actually, when we lived in apartments, they lived upstairs from us. So he was the same age as my brother. And so they just became really close friends. And you know how in our community you become friends. Now we cousins. Sure. Stuff. It was a situation like that. So we weren't related at all. Okay. But it was just, we lived in the neighborhood for so long, and they lived above us, that they just pretty much just became family and everything like that. And so, yeah, at that time I knew nothing about orgasms, sex, none of that stuff. I'm just a kid being a kid. And that's when it started. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
With that mask you was wearing for 25 years, what was some of the biggest challenges you had in relationship? Because you got a mask on getting married, you got a mask on being an entrepreneur, you got a mask on having children.
Yep.
What were those obvious barriers for you trying to navigate certain responsibilities as a man while wearing this mask this whole time?
Oh my goodness. Trusting men, to be honest with you. Like I could not trust like men. I always looked for that guidance. But it was just like something in me. It was just like every time I would reach out and seek that guidance, even in my younger days, it was just like this man to be like totally opposite. So it was just like, man, none of these dudes good.
Right.
And I just carried that with me, and just trying to wearing that mask, you become manipulative. You know, you're telling yourself like, hey, this is what you should do, instead of just being open to just speak how you feel. You become that fear, that doubt, all of that's there.
Sure.
Because you really don't know who you are. I struggle with that. Like, I don't know who I am. All I know is how to cook. This is just like, I felt like that molestation took something from me.
Yeah.
And for those years, I was trying to figure out what was that? Because it was to a point where I was into music so well, I can just listen to stuff and just play it. That's how in tune I was. But then when the molestation started, that started to dwindle away.
How old were you, if you remember?
10.
10 years old.
10.
And it lasted for how long? How long would you
About
say?
4 years.
About 4 years. So you spoke earlier. We spoke earlier about going to Dad's family and the love that you would feel from Dad's family. How do you remember how that played into what you was internalizing between 10 and 14? Like going over Dad's house, did you feel a level of safety, release? Because you also spoke.
Yes. So basically, I told my family was entrepreneurs. So my dad, he was in and out of jail.
Okay.
I had my grandfather. Sure. Like, I'd say I felt so safe with that man. It was just like, he had a little pickup truck. He'd take me home. Like, we'd be in the front seat just talking. My grandmother, always cooking for all the grandkids. Like, we used to have to sit on the floor on the newspaper. That's how.
Come on, man.
That's how
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
What type of towel you had on the floor? You had the black, white towel?
Black towel.
Come on, man.
Newspaper.
Bruh, if you know, you know.
No, I don't
You know
know.
what I'm saying?
Sorry.
Yeah.
So what was that about? Because I don't know.
Because
So tell me,
when you
explain
in a
to
house-
me.
When you in a house with a big black family, all the adults are sitting at the table. So all the kids, they put old newspaper on the floor, and you eat like paper plates in between your legs. You sit on the floor and eat.
Okay.
But that was a
My
regular
goodness.
thing
Yeah.
when you got all your cousins and stuff at the crib.
Sure.
And so all my cousins stayed at my grandparents' house. Like my aunts, my uncle, they all stayed over there. So that's what I meant when I got that love and that connection. Even at the neighborhood too. Like, we'd be outside playing with the fire extinguisher, the water shooting out, everybody trying to drink from the fire extinguisher, the playground. It was still the hood, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I didn't experience no bullying, none of that stuff out there. It was just like it was just hood love, to be honest with you. And then so for me, let me see. For me, it's just those 25 years, I always resorted back to like my grandparents' house.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
when the molestation started, and me, I'm feeling myself not understanding why I would always want to go back to my grandparents' house, because I never experienced it there. Sure. It was just like I felt safe there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my mom worked a lot, so I couldn't always get over there. You know what I mean? And that was the issue. Like, for Christmas, I wouldn't get my Christmas gift until February, because my mom always worked, so I couldn't barely get over there. So during those times that it was really bad, I was just so thirsty just to be around my grandparents.
Did you ever talk to anyone? Sorry, did you ever discuss?
Never did.
Even today?
Well, today I have, but back then when it was happening, I never knew how to express it.
Sure.
I never knew.
So did you find that you mentioned on the prayer line, we were talking earlier about the porn addiction. Do you feel like the porn was a way for you to kind of like cope during your Like, what? Obviously, porn is porn, but like for you with that situation, did it mask something? Did it feel something? Did it like what was it about you with that? Do you feel now looking back?
I would say it became addictive because when the molestation started, the neighborhood, we lived off Cleveland Avenue. So that neighborhood, it used to be Stewart Avenue. So I used to just leave home and you would see the pimps and prostitutes. And so I started just seeing these half-naked women walking up down the streets. I was always good at talking to people. And so I would be talking to pimps, you know what I mean? They just talking to me. Because mind you, I had no guidance when I'm at mom's house, no male figure. I had an older brother, but he was with his friends all the time.
Right.
And so when I'm wandering the streets and you got a pimp right here, he's just talking to you, just like I'm just picking on how he talked to women. You know what I mean? You got the other women, they like, oh, you look cute little chubby boy. You know what I mean? That feel good coming from this grown woman, even though you at home getting molested and stuff. And so I gravitated towards that because I felt like they listening to me. You know what I mean? I never told them I was being molested, but it was like mom worked a lot. My brother, he stayed with his friends, so I was by myself. And so me wandering those streets, like Stewart Avenue was like a serious pimp prostitute hub.
Right.
So it was always people to talk to. And so once that started happening, it used to be a strip club on Cleveland Avenue. I was in a strip club at 14. You know what I mean? So once you're seeing all these women, naked women, you start to gravitate towards that. You start to get addicted, and that's when porn came in. Because that's when I found out about Napster and like LimeWire, and so I was just downloading all type of stuff. And and so it just started feeding into me because I never learned love. You know what I mean? I never learned like what that genuinely felt like on my mom's side. I got it from my grandparents, but it was old. But just to understand more as I'm growing up, I'm not getting that. I'm not being fed that. And so by me wandering in the streets, I'm seeing that. I'm getting it from the pimp. He's showing me love. He talking to me. The women, they talking to me. I was a little chubby kid, so I wasn't getting girls like that.
Right.
And so they had these older women touching your head, rubbing your shoulders. You see them looking at they half naked. You just like, man. And
and I'm like, how old were you when you got exposed to like porn or?
Probably.
I was like 8.
No, I was probably like 12 or 13 when I was exposed to porn. And, during that time, so I was going to actually, because between 10 and 14 as an adolescent, that's where, you're doing a lot of development.
Yeah.
Sexually as well, right? So, those experiences for me actually really, really propelled the attraction and propelled the sexuality. Because remember, when porn gets introduced at a very, very young age, it exacerbates, this hormones.
Yeah.
And makes you a little bit more sexually active. So sometimes it plays out with over-sexualized behavior. Sometimes it plays out with homosexual behavior as well. And then when you throw stuff like abuse in it and drugs and all of that type of stuff. So your story in and of itself is amazing. I just want to celebrate you because there's a lot of things. And of course, there's stuff obviously that you haven't told us, but it could have been very, 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 very different given the environment that you were, what you was exposed to at such a young age, man. So that's the amazing thing about the grace of God as well, is how somehow we just are able to just align ourselves to the right people in the right environments. And he has a way of really, really, really just opening us up to a completely different world. Yeah, you're right. When the trajectory could have been very different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
so that's right.
And so with that environment, I want to go back to now where we are now. Like, you get on the prayer line, you open up about your addiction to pornography. You don't trust men like that. All of a sudden, you're on a call with a bunch of men that don't know you, who's covering you and pouring into you for 3 hours on a call. Now what's happening to you?
I'm feeling like, first of all, I have to give a shout out to Shannon. I related to Shannon so much with his story, and I was like, okay, so I'm not alone. You know what I mean? Because I had never been around people who actually was experiencing what I was experiencing. So the fact that he was sharing his story so much, I was like, in the way he was just so bluntly honest, I was like, yo, okay. This will start. You know what I mean? This is start. This is what I've been looking for all these years. I still got my struggles, but at least this is a start.
A support system,
you know what I mean?
too. Yeah.
And just to see how many brothers struggle with this. Because I had never been around it. You know what I mean? Just prior to the prayer line, prior to COVID, I was just trying to find my way through life and take care of my family. You know what I mean? I didn't have any mentorship or anything like that. I was just addicted to porn, women, and just trying to be a dad, trying to figure out this lifestyle. But in that moment when I was able to just pour it all out and just to have so many men relate to what I was feeling, what I had going on, I was like, okay, this is a start. I got to like take this moment and just slowly just start to feed into this because it's been going on for too long. You know what I mean? It was moments where my wife was just like, I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah.
You know? And so I was just like, so it's either me or the old me. I got to figure out how to do this.
So in your relationships as a teenager, I'm sorry, we're getting back because we're getting prayer line. Because I think it's important for our viewers to understand the journey that's required. Sometimes that has to happen for you to get to a space of entering into your manhood, entering into your kingship. Relationships as a teenager, as a young adult, did you struggle in those areas? What were your sustainable relationships? I'm talking about girl relationships.
Yeah.
As you was developing under the guise of the abuse, did you find that
Mask.
Yeah.
How did you navigate those spaces?
I was it was crazy. I was just really just trying to have sex. It was just like I was
emotionless.
The school I went to, South Atlanta High School, it was just like you had so many different hoods going to that school where the girls was just willingly and easy. So it was just like I was just feeding into that. But what did change a little bit, I actually joined the band.
Okay.
In my high school.
What instrument?
Oh, tuba. You know it's a tuba thing, shout. I was about the tubas.
Yeah, I played the euphonium, man. The smaller version.
All about the tubas, you know?
Yeah.
And so once I joined the band, I was meeting females who I didn't have that sexual attraction to. And then I started to actually feel like a brother-sister type vibe relationship going on. And so I started meeting other females like that. I didn't have that sexual attraction to it. It was just that brother-sister love. I really like that because I didn't really have that at home with my brother.
Okay.
And everything. And so, but on throughout high school, it was just like, I couldn't turn it down.
Free fall.
It was just,
and then culturally,
crazy.
right? Like I remember lying about how many body counts I had. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because my cousin was like, "Yo, you know, man, you 16." Back when I was 16, I had about 20. And I was like, I had about 2 at the time. I was like, he's like, how much you got, Crump? I was like, 8. It was like, because the pressure back in the 90s, bro, was just like, yo, are you knocking them down? That's all your cousin cared about. Nobody cared about were you in an intimate, deep, loving relationship, bro. It was about one thing when you was in high school. Bro, are you knocking them down? Yep. And then, like, I got a question for you. Did you have a pager?
I had a 2-way.
You had a 2-way?
Yeah, I had a 2-way.
Because it was about, look, bro, how many pages are you getting a day? Like, that let me know if you really get busy, bro.
Man, I must have been sheltered, man. I must have been sheltered for real.
Yeah, but it was just like, bro, like, back in high school, and then it's interesting hearing your story because some of this mask energy was just like, also, I'm going to do the things socially just to appease people, so I never deal with the real me.
Yeah. I was a big people pleaser. Big people pleaser. Huge people pleaser. Because first of all, I didn't even know I was a people pleaser until I got with my wife and she was just started to break it down.
Come on, wife.
Like, yeah, you definitely a people pleaser.
So hold on. The wife keeps, dropping back and forth in this story. But when did you meet the wife, man? How did that come apart, bro?
Man, I met the wife. I ain't ashamed to say it no more. We met online.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was just online looking for some chick to smash. Right. That's exactly how we met.
Yeah.
And went to the movies and, she had sex in the movies, unfortunately. I mean, that's not unfortunate. That's what my mind was at. Yeah, I mean, that's what my mind was at. Your wife knows. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, we both weren't looking for nothing, but like I said, she got pregnant.
Yeah.
And during that time, it was just like, oh crap, like what do I do now?
Reality.
Got a baby on the way. Yeah. So naturally, I was just like, well, I guess we go together now.
We go together.
How old were you?
So
when
you started the Instagram trend, we go together.
Yeah,
now.
we go together now. Exactly. I was. She actually lied about her age. So I was 22. No, 23 at the time, and she told me she was 21. And then when she got pregnant, we went to the doctor visit, and the doctor said the year of her birth, and I was just like, 92. That don't sound right. And then she looked at me. I was just like, you don't lie about your age. Now, she was legal of age. Now, I ain't gonna say she was legal, but she was only 19. So I was just like, man, you have to lie about your age. So we're 5 years apart and everything. But yeah, how I met her, we both come from traumatic backgrounds. You know what I mean? She got a lot of issues that she dealt with growing up. Her mom, truck driver, so she got a lot of abandonment issues. But she have a great relationship with her mom now.
Yeah.
And I learned that from her because I saw her take her issues from her childhood and just have a serious conversation with her mother.
Yeah. Come on, man. Serious
conversation. I paid attention to what she did, and to this day they have a great relationship.
That healing is necessary.
Yeah. So I took her lead on a lot of things because I was very naive. I didn't want to tell people my story. I was just like, it took me a minute to tell her about my molestation. You know what I mean? I thought she was gonna be like another typical woman. I tell her my secrets, and you telling everybody.
She gonna judge you, all of that. Yeah.
I felt that way. So, but she was the complete opposite. And so, just seeing.
Shout out to your wife.
I know, man. That's the one right there, boy.
Yeah, shout out to wife.
Yeah.
So, you're in a situation. You're managing life. You decide to take the mask off. You got your wife and kids. You got your business, but life don't stop lifing. Talk about you recognizing, I'm getting my healing, I'm making a decision, but it's still hard. And you had confessed to me last year, we're getting ready for the retreat, about, even though after you made your mask come off, it still was one of the hardest years in your life, even though you're a successful celebrity chef. Talk about recognizing the work still continues even after you get to a certain space.
That's definitely important, because what I had to understand, even though you acknowledge what you have going on and you want to heal, like you said, life's still gonna life. You have to get rid of all of that 25 years worth of stuff, and you're trying to take in new information. So for me, I had to just slow down, because I was trying to appeal to everyone. They're like, hey, look, y'all, I'm healing, but now understanding that I'm trying to do it so fast where I'm struggling even more. Instead of just slowing down and just taking my time to just really focus on the certain areas that I need to heal in. You know what I mean? Like I said, it took me a minute to get to this point. So I had to tell myself, don't rush it. You know what I mean? Because it's been 25 years you've been holding on to this. So why are you rushing this situation? I had to be patient with myself, even with the struggles. Like, I still struggle with. I had a conversation with my wife. I told her straight up. I was like, babe, listen, I'm not cheating or anything like this. I said, but I struggle with like always being horny. Like, I have wet dreams all the time.
But Paul, let's put some education out there though. I think this is important. It is nothing wrong. It's very regular for a man to be horny. Matter of fact, you're supposed to be horny every day on some level, right? If you got your testosterone levels on point. A lot of that, our world has conditioned us another way to make you feel something's wrong with you because you have a freaking erection. There's nothing wrong with a man because there's erection and he want a woman. That is very normal. So it's important to do what you said you did with your wife and your wife did with her mother. Have the frank conversations. I tell my wife all the time, listen, baby, I love you, but I gotta get my rocks off. So I just know whatever conversation, whatever cleaning, whatever I gotta do, because that gotta happen, because my mind's going to another place.
And that's healthy. That's healthy conversation. That's healthy dialogue. That's healthy. But it also comes down to being able to identify a partner, your wife, that's gonna be receptive to that conversation and not make you feel like something's wrong with you, like you said.
Yeah, because I don't want her to think of like you're a piece of meat.
I felt that too.
I'm warning you as like, okay, me saying that, like all I see, no, I got to get my rocks off. So you talk to me. How we gonna get this done? Right? Because you don't. That's your
help me, help you, help
us. But like, instead of saying, babe, hey, babe, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I just want to. No, I ain't fine. Like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it's important. We got the whole gender war. The whole trying to be simp energy. I don't care what you call it or what's the phrases people are making up. People need to understand, particularly women in this case, Men are wired differently. We have wet dreams, you don't. You bleed once a week, every single month, we don't. Like our bodies physically just operate differently, and that is okay.
Sure.
But once we make commitment to each other, I got to support you during your times. You got to support me during my times. That is point blank, period. What that looks like is a conversation between us to have and to receive and to accept. Not to say, oh, it's different. So what you trying to say? It's different. That's it.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to get to that point too, because I'd be like, man, I want to tell my wife so bad, but I don't want her to feel like she's always obligated or it's like a chore for her to do. Because I'm just like, I used to think something was wrong with me. I'm like, why am I horny all the time, having wet dreams every night? Like, and I had to tell my wife, it's like, I'm not seeking other women. I just want you.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Sure. And
that probably melt her heart.
And I said, I can't help it. I'm just horny all the time. It's just like, but I just want you.
I hope somebody put this in the chat ministry when we post this clip. Kai gonna put this together, but to my knowledge, to my Instagram, Google research knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Men are 4 times in general, like have a higher sex drive on just natural. Right. Like if you got some other stuff going on, some psychosocial, emotional, some dietary stuff, but in general, our motor runs 4 times harder than a female. And I just think
it goes in cycles as well. I think women peak when they're in their 40s, and they have a higher sex drive. And they come to, for us, is in our 20s. Our testosterone levels start to deplete at 25. So yes.
So dear educated brother, thank you for giving the science. But I'm just saying, like, we need to have conversation because, like, again, to your point, even me bringing to my wife, I don't want nobody else. I want to be crystal clear, but I'm not jacking off. Those days are done. I'm not watching porn.
Facts.
I'm not going to the strip club. Like I'm grown, around 40 plus. Like I'm just not. I don't even have those desires.
Right.
I need you to take care of that.
Yeah, facts.
And that's just a point blank period. Right. And I'm just like, it's important. It's very important that we had these conversations because it's driving wedges without people even knowing because you're keeping this in your head.
Yeah.
So you're bringing up resentment energy. You being passive aggressive jabs. You being disconnected, and it's really because you feel some type of way, but because that's not being received or it's not being communicated effectively. So shout outs to you, bro.
Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Guys, it was tough. I was just like, man, if I had this conversation with her, I wonder how it's going to make her feel. Because I'm always thinking about how it makes her
Facts.
feel.
You guys, we all do that. We love our women.
Yeah, most definitely. Because she have, it's like fibromyalgia or something like that. I think I'm saying it wrong. But she has issues with her body sometimes too. So I have to be cautious when I'm approaching her. Like I could be just going crazy and horny, but I'll pay attention to her. Yeah. I'm just like, I think she going through it right now. So I gotta just like cut it back a little bit. And then I'm just like, this when them wet dreams come in place. And I be like, and she be like, all right, baby, come on. I said, you sure? Because I want to make sure she good. Because I don't want to, like I said, her thinking she a piece of meat. You know what I mean? And it's not like that at all. So,
but what I'm saying, more men got to have a conversation because it's not about that at all.
Correct.
But man, go ahead, Chizzy.
But the important part, and I don't want to undervalue what you're saying, right? You had to put in work on yourself because outside of that, let's say you hadn't done work for yourself, all of that would have been coming from a space of ego, coming from a space of selfishness. So now you're consciously saying, I have this desire, I have a wife, but it's not just about me. Her needs are important. So in totality, you're considering the entire collective. Yeah. And you only get to that space once you understand where you are spiritually. Once you understand that your desires, yes, they're physical, but your wisdom and your spirituality is what drives the leadership and the choices that you're gonna make to even satisfy that physical desire. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's a big piece. Because a lot of brothers would just be like, I'm gonna get my rocks off. Especially for these single brothers. Because the single brothers, we don't have the benefits of having a wife next to us. Yeah. If you're not a self-aware person as a single brother, you could easily just call up a shorty and be like, and then that completely dismantles all that you're trying to achieve.
So as we transition, Chef Beasley, man, first, thank you for your time.
Oh, you always
appreciate you. Thank you for like your vulnerability. Thank you for bringing up topics that I feel like we really didn't bring them up in the way that you highlighted, man. So thank you for your vulnerability.
That means I got to come back.
Yeah, definitely, man. You're always welcome. And so, what's something in your final words that you want to leave the people?
I would definitely say, work on being patient with yourself, understanding that even though you are accepting the healing and addressing whatever trauma you have in your life, understanding it only works with being patient with yourself.
Yeah.
I had to really learn that. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Allow whatever happens, just allow it to keep happening. I still struggle. Like I said last week, I had a little breakdown. I was able to accept that in that moment and just like, all right. I was on the phone with my wife. I said, let me call you back. Let me just give myself a minute. And I just sat there, gave myself a minute, prayed, and I felt better. You know what I mean? And so to anybody, just allow yourself that level of understanding that even though you're addressing it, you still gonna get hit in the mouth with some stuff. How you handle those hits is up to you. Facts. So in that moment, how I handled that hit, I was proud of myself because I was just like, I took a minute to myself, prayed about it, and I felt a lot better. I actually talked to the one that later that day and had a good conversation.
I love it
and everything. So yeah, I would just tell people just be patient with yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You do that, allow yourself some grace. You'll start to understand things even more, and just know like you on the right path. Because without y'all, the other brothers, like y'all have been a great example. So that's why I keep going. Because I pay attention to what y'all do, how y'all are as men, to your families. I pay attention to all those things. So yeah, so I salute y'all as well because y'all been a great example.
And Chizzy, man, what encouragement words you got from my man Chef Beasley?
I mean, I wish we could talk a little bit more, man. It's nice. It's just I just get a joy because our community will have us believe that a lot of the stuff that we're discussing, is kind of taboo, and for a man to sit in front of other men to express their vulnerabilities, you're looked at as less than, you know what I'm saying? But the true healing comes when you recognize your flaws and you recognize your challenges and you take intentionality is the word. It's the takeaway for me, for you, for this situation, because you were intentional about how you want to conduct your life, the relationship you want to have with your kids, the relationship you want to have with God, and the relationship you want to have with your wife, and that bears fruit, and you're seeing the fruit. So I'm very encouraged by your story. I'm looking forward to getting some more of them grits.
Facts. Hey, man, look, log on, tap in. You already know what it meant. Boy Man King Podcast. Subscribe, comment.
Yes,
Boy
sir.
Man King Talk on IG. Man, and guess what? The King Con is coming up soon. You want to be there. We're going to be in the building.
Yeah.
April 6th, 20th at the E-Complex. Man, all-day event. Details going to be listed in the description below.
Sure.
Tap in, man. And as we say with the Boy Man King, the journey continues, man. Y'all be blessed.
Let's go.
Yeah, great job, bro.